What's up, everybody? Petsworth is back, and I just want to share my thoughts on the Kenya versus Brit situation. Brit made a mistake with her words. Kenya made a mistake with her actions, but I think that there was a lot of miscommunication in between. And in my brain, there were 4 steps that could have been taken that could have stopped the poster situation before it ever even happened. But before I even get into it, I want to touch upon the musical part that happened in the episode previous between Shamia and Porsha. Shamia wanted to play her new song, Never Had. She pulls out her phone so that they can hear it. The song is amazing. It's a mid-tempo R&B track. She's showing vocals. As soon as the song starts, Porsha's like, "Are you on the song? Are these your vocals? This is Drew. This is not you." And so Shamia's like trying to play it off, thinking that she's maybe joking around or playing. But then when the song is over, Porsha keeps it up. And then in Porsha's confessional, she goes, "I was saying I thought it was Drew because I thought it sounded good." If you were to line up all the Housewives and had them to do a solo, Shamia is the best singer on the cast right now. Shamia is in the top 2 best singers in that whole franchise, with Shamari from Black. 3rd would be Candy, 4th would be Drew, and then 5th would be Porsha. So I'm trying to figure out why Porsha was trying to downplay Shamia's vocals and say it sounded like Drew when Shamia can do more vocally than Drew. Shabana! I want to move on to the poster board situation. The first thing that could have happened was production could have given Brit a consequence and trained her on what she's supposed to do within an argument. When you enter reality TV, you have to be open to the idea that you're going to get into verbal battles with people. You have to be open to the idea that somebody might try to read you, and you have to be open to the idea that you might have to read them back or read somebody first. When her and Kenya were having an interaction at the table, Kenya was very polite, very mild-mannered, very low-key. She wasn't yelling. She didn't point. We've seen Kenya when she's at a 10. Kenya was definitely at a 1. And she made the little wayward comment like, "Oh, peasants can't summon a queen." And that sent Brit spiraling. She mentioned how she had a pistol and a whip. She mentioned the pistol twice in earshot of Kenya. Right there in that moment, if production could have took her to the side and said, "Look, we're going to suspend you for a month. We're going to give you a pay cut. And we're going to train you on what needs to be said in an argument and what does not need to be said." Because you guys can say whatever you want to, insult-wise, but to speak on weapons and violence, that's a step too far. Because then people will feel threatened. You never know what people's thought process is when they bring up weapons in a light argument like that one. I can see if they were getting in each other's face, like about to put their hands on each other. But that one little comment and Kenya didn't even yell at you and you already going overboard. That proves that Brit is just immature as far as reality TV. She needs more training. She's not quite ready for the platform. If you're already going straight to guns over one little calm comment, can you imagine if it was a blown up argument? What are you gonna do then? And then in her apology scene with Shamia and Angela, she said if someone brought up a rumor about her man and didn't tell her what it is, she would slap them. So there it is. Once again, they're having a verbal conversation and you taking it into physical violence. So I think that the first step that could have stopped the poster situation is if they would have given Brit a consequence when she mentioned the weapon during that first argument and retrained her on what she's supposed to say in an argument and how to go tit for tat. And if you can't argue back with somebody without threatening them, maybe you shouldn't be on reality TV. The second step that I think could have taken place that would have stopped the whole poster situation from happening is Brit got to go on an apology tour. She had an apology scene with Shamia and Angela. She had an apology scene with Porsha. She had an apology scene with Kelly. But the apology never reached Kenya. That's the thing. So that's miscommunication. If she could have had a one-on-one scene with Kenya or with any of the other ladies who she felt comfortable with, where she could say how sorry she was, giving her flowers in like a more intimate setting and explain to her, "Listen, I'm new to the whole situation. I went overboard. I didn't mean to hurt you or make you feel any certain type of way. I'm very sorry." And explain that to Kenya before the hair spa event. then the posters might have never came out. However, she apologized to everybody except for the one that she actually threatened and offended. If she could have called her or texted her or anything before coming up to that hair spa, that probably could have stopped the poster situation from happening. Which leads me to my third step. You seen Kenya had a wonderful event. It was beautiful. Everybody was there. The posters didn't come out and Brit did not come there. So when she wasn't there, the posters weren't out. As soon as Brit came in, that's when Kenya took out the posters. Brit just never should have came to the hair spa event. The last time you seen Kenya, you spoke on having a pistol. You were calling for your husband when Kenya was there without a man. You made her feel afraid. Porsha told you you made her feel afraid in that moment. So if the last time you saw her, you were speaking on a pistol, she didn't see you since. You apologize to everybody. She doesn't know if you're apologetic or not. She don't know what you're going to be on. And then you pop up at her event. Of course, you're going to feel some type of way in that moment because that was not the time to try to apologize. The apology should have possibly happened before you thought about coming to that event. You don't show up to somebody's event if the last time was contentious because it could go left once you get there. So I think if Brit would have never come to the event and just sat this one out until she had a one-on-one conversation with Kenya to clear the air and make sure that everything was all right, or let Kenya go ahead and verbally cuss her out or whatever she was going to do, she should have never came to the event. If she wouldn't have came, the posters would have never came out. They didn't come out until she stepped foot in the door. The fourth thing that I think could have stopped the whole poster situation from happening is going to hinge on Kenya. You could have ignored her like you did when she tried to give you the flowers. You could have had security put her out like everybody predicted for you to do. You could have told her, don't come to my hair spa. There was a myriad of choices she could have taken other than to pull out the poster. Also, I'm pretty sure she went over the poster idea with somebody. Did she tell the production she was going to pull out the poster? Did she tell any of her close friends she was going to pull out the poster? Did somebody on her team print out the pictures and make the poster? I don't think I can see Kenya gluing the pictures on the posters. So whoever helped you with this idea and didn't tell you that it was a bad idea, if you yourself couldn't come up in your brain that this was going to be a terrible idea, I think you need to look at your team. You probably should fire your team. You could have verbally cussed her out. You could have verbally threw out there all the information you knew without pulling out the poster. You could have made a different choice in that moment. You could say you never want to film with her again and say you feel threatened. That could have been a choice. Okay, Kenya got a consequence. Brit is going free with no consequence. I don't think that's fair. They either both should get the consequence or they should have kept Kenya on there and let her do her apology tour and let them work it out. Not just one person get the consequence. They both should have got one or both should have got to stay because they both did something wrong. One did something verbal. One took out the posters, which was wrong. This episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta was definitely an A+. They edited it like it was a horror movie. My heart was beating out of my chest. It felt like I was on a roller coaster as you see Brit apologizing to everybody and you know the end result is the poster's gonna be coming out. If you go on Twitter, you can hear Kenya's whole speech. You don't know how much of that speech they were gonna play because she was saying some things in there. So not knowing how much they were gonna show and what they were gonna leave out and how they were gonna edit it, it just left you on the edge of your seat. I think it actually was the most tense episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta ever. And I've seen them all from the first one all the way up to now. The way they built that one up, it was just A+. It was an excellent episode. The MVP of the episode definitely was Kenya. It was Kenya. Her with the posters and the anticipation of how much they were going to show of what she was going to say. It just really took the show to the next level. And I seen it did raise the ratings as well. The LVP of the episode, I would have to say, could be shared between Drew and Porsha. Drew, she tried to come up to Porsha to speak with her in a weak way. Porsha keeps like brushing her off saying, oh, I'll speak to you on my own time. And it's almost like, Porsha, if you don't want to have conversation with people, why did you come back? Why does it have to be on your terms? It's like, oh, she's with her sister, I can't talk to her. And oh, she didn't call me, I can't talk to her. And oh, at this event, I can't talk to you. Like, if you're going to be dicey with the conversation, why even come back? Okay, like what was the point of coming back if you're getting paid to have conversations with these people? So why are you like giving people the runaround to talk to you? the season climaxed in the 5th episode. So I'm pretty sure it's going to go downhill from there, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have nothing else going on after this. And plus they lost Kenya. Hopefully Kenya get to show up to the reunion and share her side, or somebody does an interview with her so we can hear her side and what her thought process was and who helped her make the posters, and who did she run this idea by, and were they with it saying, oh yeah, this is a good idea, like telling her that wrong information? Why would she do that? Why would she make the posters and take them out? All right, y'all, see you next time.